back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I don't do a lot of travel vlogs or travel videos on my channel, but when I do, I love doing them. They're so much fun for me to make. As you guys see from the title, today's travel vlog is in New York City. I went to New York City with my mom about a month ago, so this video has kind of been slacking. I meant to get this up right away, but we've had a lot going on. I got a new job. If you guys are new around here, welcome. I am a previous classroom teacher, now kind of fighting my way back to the classroom. We also have a new addition to the family. We have our little Mia girl. Nala is still very much well loved, trust me. But yeah, we have a new dog, we got engaged, I got a new job, just a lot going on. So I have promised you guys I would get this video up, so I am still sticking to that. I know a lot of you guys messaged me saying, please make a detailed travel vlog of New York City, because a lot of you guys have plans to go to New York City this year. And New York City is one of my favorite places in the world to travel to. I love it so much. So if you guys have never been to New York City, this is going to be a really good video for you, because I show you all of the best things to do for your first time in New York City. And even if this isn't your first time, this was actually my second time in New York City, it's still a good video to watch just in case there's anything that you missed the first time around. I knew that I wanted to take my mom to New York City because she's never been before. There's just no place like New York City, and I had only been one time before and I absolutely loved it. So I decided to plan a little girls trip for us. We went for 4 days. It was the perfect amount of time. We saw so much. We had so much fun. We talk about it all the time, and we always say we need to go back and we need to just do another girls trip, because my mom and I are just best friends, and there's nothing better than just going on like a little girls getaway with your mom. So enough babbling. I'm going to go ahead and lead us into the travel vlog and kind of give you all the deets on everything that we did. So my mom and I actually decided to drive to New York City, which from Missouri, the drive to New York City was about 15 hours, 14 and a half. It really wasn't that bad though. We had a few reasons that we wanted to drive to New York City, but it ended up being so nice that we had a car in New York City. Although parking can kind of be a pain and a little bit expensive, it was super nice that we did have a car, just so that we didn't have to deal with the transportation to and from the airport, and we could leave on the day that we wanted to leave at whatever time that we wanted. We didn't have to worry about flights or getting a ride to the airport, dealing with traffic or anything like that. We were able to leave bright and early and skip all the traffic. I know a 15-hour drive can seem really long to some people, but for me, I really enjoyed it and I had a lot of fun just traveling with my mom. And for me, the best thing to bring along in drives is any type of book, reading. Obviously, we listened to a lot of music, we ate a lot of food, we had just a lot of really good talks and just spent some quality time together. Whenever it came to bringing things to read in the car, I relied heavily on my at-home scanner, which is something that I wanted to tell you guys about just a little bit before we dive into the vlog. The at-home scanner that I've been using is the Caesar Aura Pro, and it is a scanner that can essentially do it all. I've been using it for a lot of different purposes. One of them, whenever I'm traveling, to scan any books that I'm reading. I'm currently studying right now some yoga and some yoga teacher training content, and so the text that I have, I didn't want to bring with me, just like adding so much extra weight to my suitcase. So instead, I just wanted to be able to easily scan the documents to my phone, my iPad, or my laptop. Even if you have a really thick book or a textbook, this scanner can scan all the information on a double-sided page and allow you to download it to bring with you whenever you're traveling. This would be of great use to anybody, whether you're driving long hours in a car or if you're spending a lot of hours in an airplane and you can't bring a lot of books with you and you can't have all of that weight in your suitcase or in your carry-on bag, and so you just want to scan the documents so that you can bring it with you on any sort of device. Not to mention, the scanner itself is super lightweight, super easy to bring along with you, ultimate portability, and it has a built-in rechargeable battery. So this would also be really easy to bring with you if you're traveling, whether that be for work, business, or if you're just heading somewhere where you would like to keep the scanner on you. Also, not to mention, if you are a teacher, whether you're teaching in the classroom, if you're teaching online, I know in the days of me teaching through Zoom, this home scanner would have been so helpful to have, just to be able to scan the documents, mark up on the documents, and be able to post them for my students to see. Even if you are working in the classroom and you want a way to show the document that you're marking on in front of the classroom, whether that's on the big screen in the classroom, on your laptop, you can easily do that with the home scanner. And since it is so lightweight, it's so easy to bring back and forth from home to your classroom. If you're Zoom teaching, homeschooling, online teaching, this is a great way for you to be able to scan the documents that you want your students to see. Not only can you use this as a scanner, but I I've personally been using it just as a book light, whether you want to use it on your nightstand as a book light or in your living room. Sometimes whenever I'm home at night and I don't want like all of the harsh overhead lights on, I'll just turn on my book light, or at night whenever Kyle's sleeping, I'll turn on next to my nightstand so I have it just over my book. But it's perfect for any of you readers out there, whether you want to scan a book or you want to have the light illuminate your book at nighttime, or bring it with you to travel whenever you're staying in a hotel. There's really not anything that the scanner can't do. So if you guys are interested at all in it, whether you're working from home, whether you're working in the classroom, whether you travel a lot, there's so many different uses for the Caesar portable scanner. I will have the link to the Caesar website linked down below, along with the exact Aura portable scanner that I have, if you guys are at all interested. All right, let's jump right into the New York vlog. So I guess I'll just go ahead and tell you guys exactly what we did day by day. Of course, you can kind of switch this up depending on the needs of your trip, what all you guys want to get done. There is so much to see and do in New York City. You can definitely do a lot in a few days, but obviously you may have to break it up into a few trips, but I promise you, you will want to go back after your first trip. We ended up traveling to New York City on a Wednesday and we stayed through Sunday. The first day that we got to New York City, I really just wanted to walk around and just explore. I didn't have anything booked, no time restraints on anything. Since my mom had never been there before, I told her, let's just walk around and explore, because obviously there's so much to see. It's such a huge city. We ended up staying in the Arlo hotels in Midtown. I highly recommend that for your first time in New York City, although it is the more touristy version of New York City, you have to see it at least once. So I recommend staying in Midtown Manhattan, because Midtown is kind of the spot where all of the more exciting things are happening. You're really close to Times Square, you're close to all the shops, you're close to pretty much everything, but you can easily take the train to pretty much any part of Manhattan that you want to go to. Obviously, Manhattan is not the only place that you want to see when you go to New York City. I still am dying to see the other parts of New York City. There's a lot of places that I haven't actually seen in New York City, so this is just coming from someone who's only been a couple times, but if it's your first time, I found that these trips have been really, really great. I really can't recommend Arlo Hotels enough though. It was such a pretty hotel. It was in a great location. It was like a 5 to 10 minute walk to everything around us, whether we wanted to walk to the trains or if we wanted to walk to Times Square, shops, restaurant. It was super close to everything. So we really never had to walk more than 10 minutes from our hotel. The first thing that we had to do whenever we got to New York City was go take a look at Times Square. I know it's kind of like the cheesy touristy spot, but if you've never been, you just have to see it. There's nothing like Times Square in the daytime. At nighttime, it's always super lively. There's so many people, there's lots going on. It can definitely get a little chaotic and definitely big crowds, so it depends on the time of year that you go. My mom and I ended up going to New York City during Christmas time, which is no doubt one of the busiest times that you can travel to New York City. It was a really great experience, but if I go back, I'll definitely go back during a less busy season during the year, just because it was so chaotic. One night we ended up canceling our plans because the streets of New York City were so packed and crowded, you really couldn't get anywhere. So it's totally up to you. If you want to experience the craziness of New York City during Christmas time, it is beautiful. The holiday season in New York City, there's nothing like it, but it's super, super crowded and crazy. If you want to see New York a little bit more laid back time of year, I have gone to New York City in March and April before. That time of year is a lot less crazy, but we still had so much fun. We pretty much just spent a few hours walking around Times Square, exploring everything, shopping, eating all the food. You have to stop and get food at the carts, the food carts that are along the city. We definitely ate our fair share of food on this trip, but the food in New York is so good. City, I didn't have a lot of time to do all the things that I wanted to do, so I knew the first thing that I really wanted to do was the Empire State Building. The Empire State Building really wasn't too far from us. We were able to walk all the way there, and I really just wanted to see it. You can go up in the elevators to go up to the rooftop of the Empire State Building. We didn't do that just because of the crowds. There were so many people, but it still was really cool just to be able to go inside of the Empire State Building, see it, and obviously still get to go throughout the entire tour. First night in New York City, I knew I wanted to go to a Broadway show, so my mom and I bought tickets for Wicked. My mom had seen Wicked before. I had never seen it, but I've been dying to see it, so I was so excited for this. I was so happy that they were on Broadway the week that we went. If they happen to be on tour the week that you are in New York City, or if they come to your hometown at all, it's so good. You have to see it. Also, there's just nothing like the energy and the feeling of getting in line for a Broadway show in New York City. Everyone is just like so excited. The crowd's like walking in. I don't know, there's just something about the ambiance of a New York City Broadway show. It's so much fun. City, we had a lot that we wanted to do, so we made a list. Like I said, I have an itinerary of the things that we ended up doing. The itinerary that I wrote was kind of a rough draft because my mom and I knew we didn't want to be on any real time constraints, and we didn't want to be rushed or feel like we had to skip out on something because we really wanted to make it to something else. We really just wanted to enjoy our days and just get to whatever we could with the time that we had. The first thing that we wanted to do was go to the Brooklyn Bridge. The first time I went to New York City, I wasn't able to do this, and I really wanted to see the Brooklyn Bridge, so we actually had to take a train down to Lower Manhattan, and whenever we got there we had to walk just a little bit of a distance to go see the Brooklyn Bridge and the Statue of Liberty. I was actually surprised how close the Statue of Liberty and Brooklyn Bridge were. Whenever we got off the train, the Statue of Liberty was pretty much right there in Battery Park, at least the view of the Statue of Liberty. So the first time I went to New York City, I took a boat ride out and did the whole Statue of Liberty tour. My mom and I decided that we just wanted to go get a peek at it, so you can at least just go walk around Battery Park, which is really beautiful in itself, and then we could just stand and kind of look at the Statue of Liberty from a distance, which is still really cool. And saw the Statue of Liberty, we made our way to the Brooklyn Bridge. This was probably one of my favorite moments of New York City for me, just because it's something I'd always wanted to do. The walk was a lot longer than I expected to make it up the Brooklyn Bridge. I don't know why in my head I just thought of it as like a short walk to the middle of the bridge, but it's quite an uphill walk, so just prepare if you're going to Brooklyn Bridge. It is quite the walk, but there are a lot of like shops along the way, and I ended up actually finding this scarf that I'm wearing right now on the Brooklyn Bridge. Just literally hanging off the side of it, and not too expensive at all. We just paid for it as we were walking because I thought it was so cute. But finally we made it up to the middle of the bridge, and the views are so breathtaking. I will say if you go really early in the morning, you would probably beat a lot of the crowds that we did not beat. It was pretty crowded by the time of morning that we ended up going, but nevertheless it was still a really cool experience and so beautiful to see New York City from the Brooklyn Bridge. So after we saw the Statue of Liberty and the Brooklyn Bridge, we ended up making our way over to the 9/11 Memorial and Museum. The memorial was something that I saw my first time around, but I never made my way to the museum, and I heard such great things about the museum. I knew that I really wanted to take my mom to go see it this time around, and it honestly is something that you do need to experience. If you have time whenever you're in New York City, I highly recommend making your way over to the memorial and the museum. City. It was honestly probably one of my favorites just because we had so much fun, honestly, just walking around, seeing all the things, and just spent so much quality time together. But the number one thing that I ended up loving on our trip to New York City was getting to see Central Park. I highly recommend carving out some time to see Central Park on your trip to New York City, just because the first time I didn't get to see it and I was so bummed, and I realized the second time that I went back, it was definitely a must-see that I wish I saw the first time around. We really lucked out this day. We had such nice weather. Although it was December when we went to New York City, honestly, it was like in the mid 50s the whole week. I think one day it got down to low 40s, but we just bundled up in our coats. It really felt nice just to walk around. We went to some holiday shops, we got some hot cocoa, and then we just walked all over Central Park for hours. We definitely got our steps in. My mom had to stop and buy some new boots because hers were like killing her feet. So definitely keep in mind that you need to bring comfortable walking shoes or boots when you go to New York City, just because you'll probably end up walking many more miles than you think. I think this day in total, we ended up walking like over 10 miles just in the morning time, because we were walking all over Central Park, and then we ended up walking all the way down to the Met, and then all the way back to our hotel. Like, we seriously walked all of Midtown and Upper Manhattan that day.
Merry Christmas, baby. Reindeer's coming out to play.
The Met was another thing that was on my list personally that I wanted to see. Obviously I wanted to get, you know, the infamous staircase photo, but I didn't plan on going inside the Met, but my mom and I ended up just walking in and we ended up seeing the entire inside of the Met, and it was so beautiful. Definitely a must see if you go. I feel like it wasn't something that I thought I would like that much, but I ended up really enjoying our day going to see the Met. I had to get a hot dog from one of the food stands outside. I feel like in New York City there's food just like at every corner, so you're just constantly eating and snacking on things throughout the day. The New York hot dogs are really good. So Saturday night is where it got a little bit crazy. One, because it was getting really close to Christmas time. Two, it was a Saturday in New York City, so those days are obviously already going to be a lot busier. It might be the day that some people just got into town. And this is the night where my mom and I had a lot of plans, but they didn't exactly work out as planned. So obviously during Christmas time, the big thing is going to see the Rockefeller Christmas tree, which if that is your goal to go see the Rockefeller Christmas tree, that is such an amazing experience and I do recommend it. But if you are going to see the Rockefeller Christmas tree, I highly recommend going at an earlier time because around dinner time is when it got so crazy packed. Obviously people want to go see it at nighttime whenever the lights are on, and I totally get that. So if you still are determined to make it through the crowds to see the lit up Christmas tree at nighttime, go for it. I wish you the best, but the crowds were actually so insane and there wasn't like a single restaurant opening within miles of the Rockefeller Christmas tree because so many people booked reservations like months in advance. So my mom and I ended up just walking back to our hotel. We got dinner at a restaurant right by our hotel and we actually ended up just going home that night. We had plans to go see the Rockettes at the Radio City Hall, but the the streets were so packed and so crowded. No, it was literally shoulder to shoulder just trying to walk through these crowds. It was a little bit too crazy for us. Like I said, we've already walked over like 10 to 15 miles at this point, and it was taking so long just to get us like 1 mile in New York City that we decided we're just gonna call it a night. We literally went and got food, went back to our hotel, and watched videos of the rockets in our hotel room. I don't know why though, that was still like one of my most special memories with my mom, just because we made the best of the situation. We ended up just cutting our losses, going back to our hotel, and it honestly was so much more fun just being able to like lay in bed, get cozy, watch the rockets on the TV in our hotel room, and just hang out. So not everything is going to go planned. Whenever you go to New York City, there's a lot of craziness, there's a lot of people, there's a lot to do, a lot to see, but nevertheless, it is such a fun trip, and I truly feel like there's no other place in the world like New York City. Obviously, the things that I have mentioned are only a few of the things that you can do when you go to New York City. There really is so much to see, and obviously Manhattan isn't the only place that you can go visit. There's so many other places in New York City that I still want to venture out to, but like I said, if this is your first time going, these are such great things to do. I love New York City so much, if you can't tell, and if you guys are having your first trip there, I hope this video helped you or gave you some inspiration or even just got you excited to go. And if you don't have any plans to go to New York City and you're just watching this for fun, I hope that it entertained you and maybe inspired you to plan a trip to New York City one day, because it's so fun. It'd be a great girls trip. It'd also be a great little romantic trip. I believe that everybody should go to New York City at least once. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you guys want to see any more travel vlogs like this one. It was so much fun to film, and honestly just such fun memories looking back. I would have filmed it regardless, I feel like, just to have this video for memories of this amazing trip with my mom, but I did really enjoy making it for you guys. So if you guys want to see more travel vlogs as I go on more trips, definitely let me know. Comment down below if you guys enjoyed it. If you've been to New York City and you have more tips, advice, places to go, things to see, places to eat, definitely comment them down below so everybody who's planning a trip there can go kind of scroll through and read those tips from you guys. I love and appreciate you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.